kick-ass switch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you are watching another episode of Every Which Way, this time featuring author and web TV host Lilou Mace. And this interview is very special for me because Lilou Mace is the person that actually got me on camera for the first time and talking to YouTube. I was a part of her community over at co-creatingourreality.com, which is a place where people set 100-day reality challenges for themselves, and then using like the law of attraction and living from heart center, they work toward goals and journal and vlog about it and share it with each other and kind of provide encouragement. And I was just intending to blog over there, but I really enjoyed everybody else's videos, including Lilou's, and she has so openly shared her journey with us online in over 2,000 videos that I started making videos myself. So I'm very appreciative that she got me onto YouTube because that has been a life-changing experience for me. And I also really just enjoy the interviews that she has done through her Juicy Living tour, which is a tour where she goes around talking to some very famous authors like Wayne Dyer, Lilou Mace, Joe Dispenza, Gay Hendricks, Debbie Ford, all favorites of mine, but also she'll just go into some small remote village and talk to the local healer. Or she'll just talk to anyone who has a cool spiritual story about how they opened up and had some kind of transformation. She does a lot of video interviews like that. And she's just a hardworking, passionate, interesting, life-loving, juicy woman. So if this is your first time being introduced to Lilou, you are in for a huge treat. Here she is, Miss Lilou Mace. Hi, Lilou. Welcome to Every Which Way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I have to say, hello, my juicy co-creators.
Yes. Delicious, juicy, loving, adorable, yummy, yummy, all of it.
How is the tour going, the Juicy Living tour?
It's going good. I just came back from Mexico where I had a couple of challenges. Actually, I did a video blog about it because it was... It's part of, going out and traveling and interviewing people and being out there and getting outside of our comfort zone. Of course, then things comes up, especially in sacred places like Yucatan in Mexico, where all the Mayans are. So my stuff came up, and I went to. I had then a wonderful healing that took place there, and then. Things opened up, I was able to do some wonderful interviews and rapidly move out of that kind of yucky zone that I don't like anymore. I just want to live a juicy life.
Yeah, let's tell people what the Juicy Life Tour is, actually, before we get too into that.
Yeah, the Juicy Living Tour is something I started on January 11th, 2011. Mm-hmm. Which is originally it was meant to be a 12-month tour around the US, Canada, and Mexico. It was 11 months the first year, and now this year I've been doing it throughout Europe, but kind of all over the place, because really I feel called to interview people all around the world, not just in a particular continent. So it's been an exciting series of hundreds and hundreds of interviews on conscious people, on people living from their heart, that had paradigm shift, that experience, I don't know, they might have near-death experience or what have you, but it's people with a lot to share and lots of love.
Yeah, your interviews really, you focus, I think, on metaphysical, new age ideas, perhaps, but they really run the gamut between bigger authors like Wayne Dyer and Lilou Mace. Joe Dispenza is a favorite of mine that you interviewed, but then you'll also interview somebody living out in a rural community who has just had a spiritual experience. Do you have a favorite? Do you like to interview people you've been following a long time, or is it fun just to stumble on some random person who has a cool story?
I love really being surprised, and I love seeing a person that is the same on, off camera, so sometimes I can be disappointed in meeting well-known people because you have such a high expectation that sometimes it just can't match, really, because I think as human beings we have a tendency to put people on pedestals, but So then I sometimes I get disappointed, but I love seeing a person as juicy on off camera, so open, loving. It's just so it doesn't matter if it's a well-known person or not. It's just really the synchronicities and following my intuition on who to interview at the time. Mm-hmm. I do love people that wrote many books because they're really precise and they have such a way of putting things. But at the same time, I love interviewing the new generation because I feel we're getting it faster, and it's more natural, and it's just another level of exchange. So all of it is good.
Yeah, they laid the groundwork for us. Some
yeah.
of it. Yeah. And I was going to ask you later on, but I'll just ask you now because you sort of touched on it. It was a long time ago you did a video about maybe losing faith in some gurus or being surprised that they weren't. Was that something that you just experienced doing the tour where you would, I don't know, maybe see behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz and it wasn't quite as exciting?
Well, for the people I interview and I choose to interview, I really, think they're amazing and awesome and they're sharing the right message. If I have a doubt about that person or receive negative feedback, or there's just many negative then I'll just remove the video. I really follow my heart and the guidance and all of that, so I try to really be careful and mainly following my heart and intuition. I think it's our duty to all of us now, especially with this kind of all this information that we're bombarded by. We need to really follow more than ever this loving voice that is there to guide us. But there are some people, I feel like in any other industry, that are malintentioned, that are really, that are manipulative, and we have to be really responsible for our choices, for the healer that we choose, or the therapist, or the books we read, or seminars we go to. I mentioned this when I was touring in Scandinavia. And I was approached by some people in Holland and in Scandinavia that were just really, part of a cult, I guess, or just really it was weird. It was the weirdest thing to experience, and I felt really strange and afraid. And I really wanted to do this video to share my feeling about. At the same time, there are some amazing people, and it's too bad that those kind of manipulative people would set them or would damage some of the amazing things that can really happen, and some amazing healers that are there on the earth. So I was a little bit not upset, but really just looking at the full picture. Mm-hmm. And I'm amazed at the miracles that there are. I don't meet that many kind of strange people. I must say I feel very protected, and I feel that I do this work, and I'm also a strong person, and I feel I needed to be a strong person to do this with all the traveling and all the people that I meet, and then say no's. I say more often no's than yeses. Mm-hmm. So there are really, we have to listen to, we can't be victims, and we can't just because somebody tapped on our shoulder and say we're super special, follow that person for years and give them all our money. I mean, come on. It's time to wake up on all levels. And I'm saying this also to the people that are skeptical about all of these healers and everything. There are amazing people, and there's amazing things that are possible, and miracles that are happening in seconds. Yes. But it's all about how we, who we're being, and are we really ready to see it?
You talk a lot about the heart and coming from heart center. I think that's important to what you're saying. And a lot of why I was attracted to you in the very, very beginning was you talked about the law of attraction a lot, and that was something that I was very into at the time. I still practice the law of attraction, but in my opinion, your heart center is your center of attraction. Can you talk a little bit about your thoughts on heart center and how it might play into the law of attraction?
Yeah, it's to me, I had an opening of the heart after I experienced quite a lot of money challenges. I lost my job in 2009, early 2009. Then I found myself few months after that into money challenges. I had no more money. I was living in London, and I was really miserable and suffering so much. And that's what I shared in my book. And I said, you know, the book is I had no money and I liked it because what a blessing to have experienced that and have fully gone into the process and have been able to remove remove some of the mask, remove some of the suffering, start to be vulnerable, responsible for what was happening, and then starting to reopen to myself, start forgiving myself, start forgiving others, welcome, being grateful of small things in my life, starting to really love and appreciate those small things that I wasn't appreciating anymore because I was protecting myself. I felt separate from others. And this is you know, a closed heart versus an open heart. A closed heart feels that it's going to be manipulated, it feels separated in competition, better or less than. All of those are from a closed heart. When our heart open, we feel connected to everything. It's easy, it's effortless, it's juicy. It's just this, you know, this omnipresence, this amazing life that then opens up. And the challenge is to keep that heart open and want to keep it open because it has a tendency to be closed from past experiences that were hurtful. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of healing and a lot of self-talk or acknowledgement and giving ourselves the love when we have those doubts. The doubts that we might not be good enough, we might get into again this challenge and this is again something I know. But the more we beat ourselves up, you know, the less we're going to attract good. So it's linked to the law of attraction because the more we fall in love with ourselves or with life, the more we're in sync with life, the more it's going to be a mirror of our greatness. That seems, you know, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I love that with the Juicy Living Tour, you've allowed yourself to be a student, and through that you are teaching people. Especially, I noticed in some of your interviews I can't follow because they're in a foreign language, although you're very good about translating them, which I totally appreciate the effort that goes into that. But during your American tour, especially toward the beginning and the middle part, I noticed you would just surrender to whoever you were talking to and open yourself up so personally about your own issues with money or family or the way you felt about your body, and you shared yourself as a student and in effect became the teacher, and I thought that was so interesting.
And I'm still very much the student, and a few days ago I posted a video blog about my Mexican challenges and what I was going through. And I love this, I think we're all, student teachers, and even those words are not even anymore, I feel, appropriate in this paradigm. It doesn't resonate anymore because we're just human beings sharing ourselves and giving, receiving, sharing, and I just love that dynamic. There's no limitation in between the receiver and the person that emits or receive. There's no more frontiers, I guess. It becomes very blurry and it's all one big thing. One big thing of wanting to be myself, of being ourselves in life. And so, of course, there is emotions. We all go through things, and we can rapidly transform those, transmute those into something. And then when we share that, what's going on with ourselves, I think it helps others automatically.
You have facilitated that for many people with your community at co-creatingourreality.com, if people want to go look, where people set... This journey started for you with the 100-day reality challenge that you were doing before the tour, right?
Yeah, in 2005, okay. 2006 it started.
And then people do this with you. Every 100 days, people start a new challenge for themselves and practice the law of attraction, practice living from heart center, and it's interesting the way people share there. I was very much involved in that community in 2011, I think, and that's actually what got me on the internet making videos. It's so fun. I mean, because people make videos there and talk about their challenge in the same way that you did in the very beginning, and bounce ideas off each other and things like that.
And it's very powerful to hear ourselves speaking our dreams, when it resonates, and when we really hear it, and when we see how much growth there is in following that path, and in practicing, and in putting ourselves out there and getting outside of our comfort zone, why not play that game? Why not participating? Why not being out there and setting intentions and growing and choosing practices and continue to grow and learn? And it's not like it's a must. It's not like it's a have to. It's not that there's rules about it or that's the only thing. I just know it works. I'm at my season 24, 25th, and I think I'm finishing in a few days on the 8th of April or 9th of April. It's amazing. It's amazing when I look back how much has happened. It's really rewarding.
Consciously co-creating your reality. I think the consciously is very important because you are co-creating your reality, whether you're aware of it or not. But the can you talk about what you think that is? Do you believe in God? Or how do you define God?
I don't really use the word God, though I could, but to me what resonates the most is the universe and life. Really, it's about co-creating with life and with everybody that we have around us, and just being part of that flow. And we're always co-creating anyway, but really being conscious of it, as you said, is so beautiful. It's like a dance. And there's so many different levels of opening up to that. I still find myself fearful and doubtful at times, and I just love it. I'm so excited about feeling it sometimes, because that means there is something else behind it that I'm going to discover.
Yeah.
So it's funny when we observe ourselves and we just have this quiet, loving voice instead of being harsh. Mm-hmm. Then there's new layers that keep on unfolding, and it's fun. It becomes really fun when you look back. You're like, oh my God, this is so cute and adorable little thing that is crumbling here.
I love the way you just lean into life. You just seem like a person who's like, yes, bring it on, or you'll go find whatever it is. I think that's great. The theme of my website is, creating the kick-ass life of your dreams. And I think that you are a person who has just gone out and done that for yourself. Do you have any hot tips for other people that want to create their own dream? Different than the Lilou dream, but whatever their dream might be.
Yeah, I think it's really for us to be out there and to start doing this first step, even though if we don't know how it's going to look like in the end, that we really want to live fully our life and live our essence, and participating and meeting great people and really doing things from a loving perspective with passion and just being dedicated. But there's something that happens once we try that first, like we do this first step, because I've noticed that it's one yes after the other that then brings this full picture and this kind of really juicy life. And it's amazing, but it's most of the time when I follow my intuition, I don't know really why. Like I just know I'm supposed to do an interview that person, but I don't really know why, and then I discover the why. Mm-hmm. But it's really fulfilling to live that way instead of, oh, I'm doing it for that reason, because then we're always surprised, and it opens up. It can really open up further than even what we thought could be. So it's like I feel like we have now the possibility to really give ourselves the chance to follow our dreams. And sometimes we dream other people's dream or the wrong dream, and it's okay. there is a whole process, and whatever, it has allowed us to discover something else, and then we can move on to what really it is for us, because we forgot how to dream. I think we receive all those messages from the media and from other people and from publicity and from celebrities, and really it's not even us, it's not even close to us. I think we can be more inspired by nature and going out and just walking and just recognizing that there's magic all around and there's beauty. And then connecting to that essence, then if we want to keep that connection and build things from there or co-create from there, then if whatever we're doing is infused with that, it doesn't matter really what we do. We contribute, we're seen, we're part of this bigger picture. And that to me is a wonderful thing. And we can't be worried about money, and we can't be worried about the invoices and how to make both ends meet. But that's again part of the old paradigm. We have to trust and honor ourselves really truly in our relationship, at work, whatever we do, how we eat, what we feed ourselves with, what we're going to say. And it's challenging, but it's really worth it, because then it becomes really fulfilling to the core.
Mm-hmm. So is that how you're moving into the future, is being open, being present to the now and enjoying what you have and letting, more things come in? Or do you have some very specific goals that you have planned for what's coming next?
It's a mix of both, but I would say less the goals part. I don't really have goals. Of course, I have dreams and things. But I feel I'm in it right now. So it's not like I need to project myself further out with some kind of rigid goals, because I really believe and know now that the more I show up in exactly that space that I just described, the more things just naturally open up that will be perfectly aligned with who I am. So I really see really great stuff. I really see some amazing things that are coming. And I feel it, and I know. Mm-hmm. How can it not? Because the universe is there to it's just there to create with and to serve, and we're serving. So why this wouldn't be a really juicy and juicier dream?
I think for you too, you have put yourself into the stream of the flow. I mean, you're out. You're not sitting in your house day after day, like keeping your dreams in your head or in your heart. You are participating with life actively, and I think that that's when stuff really starts to happen too, when you participate.
Yeah, participate, but we all, of course, if we stay inside of our home and don't dare to get out and meet people, or it takes courage. Yeah, it takes. I feel it's important to move and to exchange and to meet people and all of that. And I know it can be difficult when we stay at home, but we have to get out and whatever we do. But as long as it's not a have to get out, it's just really honoring our true self, and even walking outside and having those moments. I'm not always in the flow, no. And I was expressing a few days ago how I was challenged in Mexico, because I put myself outside of those comfort zones. When you travel and interviewing people like that, it's really challenging. It's and you find yourself in places that are extremely charged, so all this stuff comes up. The difference is that I'm dealing with it and I'm going through them, and I want to go through them because I want to live a delicious life. Yeah. But it's definitely it's a challenge to go out. You increase the intensity, the uncomfortableness, because you are in a country sometimes where it's not your language, where it's totally new people around, and you have made commitments to some people you never met before, and so you have to deal with that. You have all kind of personalities that you're exposed to. That's not always an easy thing. So it's just that the challenges can definitely be greater, but of course then behind those challenges there's great stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's worth it. I love traveling for sure.
You keep using the word courage, and I'm totally going to mess up this lady's name because she's fairly new to me, but Oprah had a guest recently on Super Soul Sunday that was talking about, I think her name's Brené Brown, but I could be wrong, but she talks about how courage is only possible through vulnerability, and I feel that you just demonstrated that perfectly, talking about, what it's like to go out on the road with your tour.
Yeah, and courage, that reminds me of Oprah that had interviewed Debbie Ford, that passed away at 57.
Yes, I love
He
Debbie
wrote
Ford.
Her last book, I think, was called Courage.
Mm-hmm.
I feel courage is the most beautiful thing, really. It takes courage to have courage, I was going to say, but, it takes so much heart. It's really, the courage is rooted in the heart. I mean, it really takes a human being to get out of the comfort zone, to dare to face something that she or he is scared of, to something new, something unknown. I mean, how much this is love. I mean, it takes love to do this, and yeah, definitely courage is I love when I have the courage to do these kind of things, because it's always rewarding. There's always a gift in it, always. And I know how scary it is, but there's always a gift in it.
That's a
if we want to see
message.
it.
Yes, that is true. I love it. You have 2 books that you wrote, not just the one. You wrote I Lost My Job and I Liked It, a demonstration of courage. And then you wrote, I Have No Money and I Liked It, both. Do you have another book coming out, or what's the next project for you?
I didn't write the book yet, but yeah, I would have liked to put together the third one, because it's a series of kind of, I found my purpose and I love it.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't had the time or found the time to do that yet. And there's also a book in French about the universe that I would love to write. So I was actually asking myself that, and I would have had a tendency before to make myself wrong for not having done that, and other part of me just decided to ask my angels for courage and guidance. And I said to myself, actually this afternoon or around midday today in France, I said, just show me the way. How can I start this, and provide me with the guidance so that I can do this effortlessly? Because I really want to do it from a good place. The things I do, I don't want to force things. And I know there will be a perfect time for the books to be done. So now I'm just off to Quebec next, and Oprah Winfrey is doing on the 11th of April a speech there in Montreal. So I'm happy to see her again. I haven't seen her since 2008. So that'll be a big inspiration.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I know she was a big inspiration for you, and now you're inspiring so many people in a similar way.
Yeah, and she'll be forever an inspiration. I found that awesome that now she shares her life and challenges and goes to big stadium and is into this other phase of evolution of herself. She put herself out there with her own network, and I guess I really applaud that. I look forward to feel her and seeing the space she's in and being inspired.
Yeah, maybe you can get an interview.
Well, if I would be interviewing her, that would be quite amazing.
I would be very excited. I would be posting that all over the internet.
Yeah, me too, trust me. But for this time, I would love to manifest a backstage ticket and see her backstage. That would be, I would feel really, really grateful and blessed with that. But just going there is already, it's quite amazing. I decided to fly overseas to see her. And then all these other gifts came along. I had to do this first step, and then now I'm interviewing people. I'm being interviewed for magazines there, and I'm back in August. So it's wild to see how once we choose really, truly something, and other things come along. I often see that when I travel. I choose to go to one city, maybe in Europe, because of that person, and then and then I found out that there's all those other people to interview and connect, and there's all those other things. But that's why I talk about this first step, because the first step, then we don't have to see the whole picture. Really, this first step, and then all of a sudden, everything becomes really clear.
Yep. Thank you.
And you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me, Lilou. We're all going to send those vibes for that backstage pass for you now that you've said it. So now all this energy is going to be behind it. So you'll have to let us know what happens.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience.
Yes. It was great getting to
With
talk
the time
to you.
difference, now it's nighttime in France, and it's the beginning of the day. I love it.
Morning time here. I got to start my day talking to Lilou. Much love, Lilou.
Thank you.